The principal knows me, been knowing me for years. For whatever reason, and I missed it when I went to the door, got to the door, he met me. And I'm going like, oh, I didn't know you were going to meet me at the door, you know, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And he says, I'm doing fine. I go on in and the principal is there. And I go, oh, Archie, are we meeting? You meeting too? You know, blah, blah, blah. And he says, yes. And I'm sitting there talking to him like I'm talking to you. And I'm just kind of waiting on her. And I'm thinking, oh, she's taking her a long time. And then she finally comes. So when I left, I was talking to my son. And he said, Mama, they did not know what to expect from you. That's why the security guard met you there. And that's why they were just trying, they know you, but they were just trying to feel you out for her. Because for some reason, when she said you were on your way, they didn't know, like, is she one of these irate parents who is, I'm on my way? You know, I didn't put it in caps. I didn't do any exclamation. And so just like that, you know, people misread. They can just read things into an email or text. So that's why I prefer to have conversation.
I couldn't agree more, and this format, interviewing here, works perfectly for that.
Oh, okay.
And I could say similarly as a journalist and reporter, is what I am more than a publisher.
Okay.
And
so tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I wanted to just comment on what you said about tone of voice in text messages and emails is so important. And, you know, being a writer, we know the power of words ourselves.
Yes.
And it takes a little bit to be able to get across a message, and it can be very easily misconstrued if you have to sum it up in a sentence or two. And all the personal inflections that come out, that we can see each other's faces, which goes a long way. So.
Yeah, and that's why I started it out. Thanks for being persistent, you know. So that would like make you like, she's right, and I like you come back with that. Yeah, you like to do that. So
and it also, it seems like you're available to many people here as a not only a citizen of Roanoke for what you just said, 60 years, but also as, you know, an engaging and proactive, outgoing person. So please, no apologies. Thank you for being here. And
Thank you. I was just hoping we could get in because I didn't know what your deadline would be. I didn't know if you were still trying, you know, when you was focusing on prior election or after. I read what you said, and I said, well, it doesn't matter. He wants whatever time you can give. And so
I thought we would speak towards, which, you know, most have been said for the election so far. And one thing is, it's good to have a healthy race.
Yes, a healthy race. Yes.
You came from Blacksburg, and where it's a smaller town, and it's also a college town. But their town council is sometimes people don't even run for seats, or it's less of sometimes of a public engagement, which comes with a larger city. So for us, moving our headquarters here, and it's very it's amazing to see a vibrant political.
And it's been, having said that, the races have only really become media worthy over the last, not really, except for the last 4 when we moved it to November.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah, it's never been in all of my years of 46 years, and even the 42 in council's office. It never has brought a lot of media attention. There was always a low turnout. Even in the parties, they just pick whoever steps up. I'd say not pick, they just step up and say, I want to run, and their name gets on the ballot. There is no vetting. I used to think it was, and I can remember how engaged the Democratic Committee used to be, how deeply engaged over the years, over the last 30 years before, engaged. And the people that ran, you know, they had, and I don't want to come across, they had substance, they had understanding of really what went on in the city. And the last 10 or so years, that has not been the case. You just get in the committee, decide you want to run, get on the ballot.
It's an interesting look into modern politics, which certainly has a disconnect with with voters on the local level, a lot of attention is paid to the federal elections.
That's right.
And
That's right.
it's always good to be reminded that the majority of things that will affect your daily life will occur in those committees and in the city council's office and the mayor's office as well.
And you would hope that even, just like the NAACP or the SCLC, Democrat committee, Republican committee, I think they all have a role to play in citizens' lives because of the organization we represent. And I don't think it's, especially in the NAACP, you know, this is for all the people. So you should represent all the people, not bring personal in it. Even for me, for the Republican Party, or even for the Democrat, they are political, but as you get on the local, who is best to serve our citizens? That I think should be taken into account when you're at the committee, picking or vetting who is best to represent the party, to run and represent the citizens.
So important these days. I hate to to bring back up the federal election that I just kind of
but
set
even
aside.
on the federal, who is best? You know, we get so caught up in that, and I have said even in my 45 days over early voting, federal is so important, and one going to pick a party because that's what we have. You're either going to be a Democrat, whoever is going to run, you're going to supposedly get behind that person. Republican, whoever is going to run, you're going to get behind that person. And you're going to push for your person. And all the way down, you know, to local. But to me, federal, the president is important, but mine is always going to be looking at your Congress. You know, your House representatives, your senators, you know, congressmen. Even state, when I say House of Representatives, even on the state level, those are really where you really have to vet your people, look at them really close. Because the president can't do much of anything, executive orders, unless the Senate, you know, unless the congressmen, those are the ones that's really going to make, you know, make those ultimate decisions to move this country forward. You can have a great president, but if you don't have a good Congress to help that president, to uplift that president, what good is that president? What is his history going to look like? Legacy he's leaving behind. She is leaving behind.
Indeed, that's the democracy we live in America, and it relates to local politics and the city council and mayor's position, which I'm learning on. But this is our POLITIC local section. We've been mainly reporting on Blacksburg politics. Had quite a bit to report on with that election there, ongoing investigation there, and but I didn't want to really go there because there hasn't been so much evidence towards election fraud.
Right.
So we can leave that aside for a minute. And I wanted to bring up the mayor's role along with town council, similar to you bringing up president and Congress. And so can you describe, you have so much experience, as mayor and the council relations there?
I'm glad you asked that, because there's been a misnomer going around here, misconception, misrepresentation. We have a city manager council form of government. We do not have, like Richmond, where it's the mayor who actually make the decisions for their locality. Our decisions are made, we are, as a council, we govern. We adopt a budget. We do oversight between our colleagues, which is the 7 on council, and then the citizenry, who is our constituents. We hire 5 council appointed officials. Those are our employees. City manager is the main one, and it's in the charter. That's what educates people. They really need to read the charter of the code of the city of Roanoke and look at what are the functions. What is the mayor's function? The mayor's function really comes down to presiding over the council meeting. We have 1 of 7 votes. We can't do anything if you don't get the majority votes. Now, true enough, the mayor does have a little bit more of a role in the citizens. They're going to call on him because he is council, because of the manager. So they may call his office. That's why you see with the mayor's office. Council does not have an office. We use the council conference room. We can do all of those things or have our own office. And most of the time you may find one that works. I'm blessed. It don't work anymore. I did my time with the city. Now with that, and where I'm going with that is that, so when you talk with the mayor, he's there most times, or she's there most times. We'll be there on a regular basis, you hope. Now the mayor's office can be whatever you make it. In all of my years of working, Mayor Taylor, Noel C. Taylor, I came under him in 1978 in his office. Great mayor. More of a people's mayor. He was a minister, so his time was split, but most of the time he spent in the city clerk's office and the mayor's office. That's how we ended up with a mayor's office. Prior to that, there was not even a secretary to the mayor. When Mayor Taylor came on, because of his time in the office, the city clerk's office, and that's where his employee comes from, the mayor doesn't even have a secretary per se, because he can't hire. The secretary comes out of the city clerk's office. That's the council staff. We are the staff. So with that, the secretary comes work for the mayor. So Noel Taylor was the one that got the secretary and got an office. Now, when Mayor Taylor passed or decided not to run again and David Bowers came in, the secretary that was there was his secretary. That's how he ended up with a secretary. And he was an attorney. So most times he picked a day or so and he came in and he had meetings with the people. Ralph Smith didn't come in hardly at all in his 4 years. So Nelson Harris, same thing. He didn't come in a lot. So you just had to, thank God they didn't hire a secretary. David Bowers came back, did the same thing. Sherman Lee comes in. Sherman Lee is there some of the time, at least during my time. He was there some of the time. There has not been one that was really full-time except for Noel Taylor, who really spent a lot of time talking with the people. And that's where I come in at, because I saw that. I saw communication, and that's what I was saying earlier when we first met. Communication is the key. You've got to avail yourself to the people. They got to know they can count on you when they want to see you. You cannot just ask for their vote. You've got to want their voice. And mayor presides over council meetings. So when they come in, there should be the process. We changed up that process 25 years ago, where the citizens used to be able to be heard. Not shut down, but heard. And you could engage with the council members. And that's what they want to see come back. Engage like I'm talking with you. If you got a question or a concern, you should be able to come before that body, bring it, and have conversation. And then the council and the mayor determine to refer it to the manager. The manager takes action. That action comes back to the council as a whole. And the public gets to interact here and know what did they decide to do with that concern. Not leave it behind closed doors or down in the administration where no one knows. So those kinds of things with my history and my experience, I understand and I get it. And that's why I always say it's a process. And over the last 10 years, that process is gone. There is no process, because the tenure that helped move that process, they are no longer there either in the administration, nor is it on council. And I try to tell the public, hear me. When Sherman Lee leaves, that's 20 years gone. You're only going to have 6 years from a council member who was selected by the highest vote getters, not elected vice mayor. Just like after this election, you're getting a new vice mayor,
right?
A new person. Where is the knowledge? And we getting ready to hire he or she, a city manager. I don't care if you are from Virginia. You're not from Roanoke.
Okay, I wish I could speak a little closer on that manager issue.
Yes.
I encountered a little bit of the manager-town council relation with a public art piece in Blacksburg.
Yes.
And I've heard it described as it's city by city, town by town.
Yes.
As somewhat of the CEO of the city.
Yes.
I've heard it described like that before. And that is so important. More wiser people have discussed of whether you should appoint it before the election or wait till afterwards.
Yeah.
This is one of the, you're also speaking towards having a more transparent,
Yes.
due to the fact that you know probably where the copies made all the way to the keys to all the buildings.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
it's that kind of experience is is hard to replace indeed, and that I forgot where I was relating it to the city manager position, and that is one of the parts of being elected officials is that the city, it's a city of 100,000 there, and so you have to can't vote on every measure by popular vote or something. So we have a democracy where elected officials are public servants to serve the citizenry. So it not being you seem to be a very available person and questioning whether the town governance, city governance has been that available for its, I believe, very growing citizenry as well.
Yeah, you have to, one thing I learned when I was clerk, and even before that, because you were the record keeper, the official record keeper, the office, you read everything because you needed to have understanding. You wanted to be abreast of the situation, whether it was from the public or for your council or your administration. That's what I loved about the city clerk's office. It was that nucleus. We were that middle central piece. So for me to run, that's why I looked at it. I said what I was going to bring to the public of the connectivity, how to connect you to what you needed, and not just make you get frustrated in where do I go, who do I talk to. And when we're looking at this new city manager, just like you said, we've got a council of 3 people. I said Mike was in my seat. So you got 3 seats coming up, guaranteed seats. 3 new people, new council members, regardless of mayor. So you look at that, how much knowledge really. One will come who's running 43 years, which is good knowledge. The other 2, they've got their expertise, but where is the knowledge? So when we're looking at hiring a city manager, we got 3 going out. 1 with 20 years going out. 1 who ran a department, executive director of the corrections, 30-some plus years. He comes with knowledge. So you want him at the table, definitely. You'd want him there. And then you've got another one who you look at who's ran a small business, healthcare. Yes, she gets it, pretty much. She'll be at the table. And I come in and I have the 46 years. I've ran a department for the council, went in that department, had staff, did budgets. So you got understanding of what your manager should have. And then you have the other 3 that's coming in. That's on council, not much, but that's okay. So you're looking at who should be at the table. Those other 3 need to come in. They really do, because that manager needs to be assured. But those 3 cannot vote on the manager, but I truly believe they should be at the table, talking, meeting, having some assurances too, because they've got to work with that manager. We're leaving. But the decision, I think, can be ours, again, because you don't know who is going to be on council in January. You got a sure thing here and now, current council. You know that you know. You don't have a sure thing coming January 1. Even on the mayor's side, you know Joe will be there, the vice mayor, Cobb, will be there no matter what comes out of this. He still has a 2-year term. So regardless, Joe Cobb is still there. Now, okay, aside from that, David Bowers has been mayor before, so he understands the governance side, the governance. And David has hired, I think, maybe 2 managers, if I calculate right, or maybe 1. I can't recall when he left. No, I think it's been 1, because Bob Herbert, Darlene Bertram and Chris Morrow, I believe David Bowers had a role in. So you see, and even for me, I was in the clerk's office when we hired all of them. So, and I had a part in it. I didn't have a seat at the table when the decision was made, but I had a part in it. So when I look at, again, the manager, I think it is imperative that the 3, we'll know after Tuesday who those 3 should be at the table. Again, you won't get to be on the voting side, but I hope my colleagues really allow them to have a voice at the table, because she or he who's going to be manager need that assurance. Because come January 1, we leave out from the council side. Mayor and manager is both going to be new. Either way, the role is going to be new.
But that leads me perhaps in closing to speaking of something I can speak more towards is carrying on that a bit of momentum that you've 46 years here. You can certainly claim a part of that credit, as well as the other. It must be quite a few people that have caused Roanoke to reach this point. I just read an article this morning about how important it was to transition away from the railroad, and there's a long list of cities that haven't survived, people moving their corporate headquarters